welcome to week 6 of Valencia Marathon series. So we're now halfway through the block. Stay tuned to see in this episode the week of the Yorkshire Marathon, which I'm treating as a long run on Sunday, and how the rest of this week's training goes. So before I go into more detail on how I'm going to approach the Yorkshire Marathon weekend, I'll quickly round up this week's training so far. So what a difference, by the way, a week makes in terms of the weather, because last week I can remember it being gloves weather, pretty cold, not much above zero, but today it's 15 degrees. I mean, the sun was out earlier, but I'm pretty comfortable in the vest today. So what a difference that week does make with a great British weather at the end of October. So last week's training, again, I had that difficult week last week where I think I had just become a bit fatigued and probably struggling with a bit of a virus or something, and maybe pushing it slightly too hard on the training with doing the 22-mile run at the week before. So I didn't run on the Sunday, which meant that Monday's run was just a short, easy run to get me back into the swing of things. So I don't like missing sessions, particularly when I missed 2 key sessions last week. So just wanted to try and get back into the routine of things this week. By opting for a shorter, easier run on the Monday, this enabled my legs to be fresher on the Tuesday evening. So I decided to hop down to the local track, which is something I've not done for about 2 or 3 weeks, and get a proper interval session in there. So the session was a 1 mile tempo, and then I did 12 by 400s with static recoveries and taking probably about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, just as long as I needed to recover to get a quality rep in. Quick interval stop there for the train crossing, which would break the run up a little bit. So in terms of Tuesday session, I was pretty pleased with some of the paces that I hit. I'm still not feeling 100%, so I've decided to take it easy up until the marathon. I'd typically put a tempo session in on Thursday, but I think this could be possibly one of the reasons that I'm overloading myself a bit with doing 2 hard sessions in a week, and then the long run being a hard session at the weekend. I've decided to take that back a little bit and realise that I'm still in a pretty good place with my training. I just want to stay fit and healthy and get to the start line feeling fresh. So looking ahead to Sunday and the Yorkshire Marathon, so what are my main aims and targets for this run? And really, number 1 objective is to finish strong. So I want to be feeling at past 20 miles that last 10k is something that I've trained for and something that I feel comfortable doing coming into a marathon. So I know it has caught me out in the past when I've not done enough long runs and enough mileage in a week that I start to falter a bit at past that 20-mile point if I've been a bit too greedy and gone out too quick at the start. So I should feel a bit better in this one, as I'm not going to be going off at trying to get the PB or really trying to aim for a sub 3. I don't really want to put that pressure on myself, but what I would like to do is set off at a similar pace to what I've been doing my long runs at, which will probably track somewhere in the 3:15 region, and then look to run that second half of it strong. So I want to be looking at a similar time to what I did London Marathon at in April, which I know I'm a lot fitter now than when I ran London Marathon. I've trained a lot better, and I ran a 3:05 on that day. So taking the course into account as well, so there could be a few hills and a bit of wind, but yeah, I'd just like to have a good run out and be somewhere in those low 3 hours, finish strong and tick another long run off. So that'll be my 3rd 20-miler, and if you counted the 18, that's 4 really solid long runs I've got in so far, with still 6 weeks to go. So you might be watching this thinking, I certainly would be if I was watching this for someone else doing a video saying that they're going to do a marathon 6 weeks before their goal marathon, it would raise a few red flags to me. I'm thinking, well, it could possibly be a bit of overtraining or being a bit greedy and trying to do too many. But let me just explain myself a bit. So I'm going back to looking at when I was a 3:15 marathon runner back in 2019. I was finding that, like I said earlier, I was fading a bit towards the end of marathons, and I was setting out at 3-hour pace and fading to a 3:15 by the end. I really wanted to just have a really strong, confident run at my next marathon. So I entered the Barcelona Marathon in March of 2019, when I'd already got the Manchester Marathon in April, about 5 weeks later. And I went in this run with the strategy of thinking that I'm just going to treat it like a long run. I'm just going to get the miles in my legs, and then this is going to be a marathon that I'm going to enjoy finishing strong. And I did just that, and I ran just under 3:15 for that marathon. And I believe that's similar to how a darts player would feel, how when they throw that first dart and get it in the treble 20, they've got that sight of them for the next one. So that next one that they throw will sit just in nicely on the top, and you've got that muscle memory for the next marathon. So in fact, that is how it happened. And in 4 or 5 weeks later, in 2019, I did then go and get a massive sort of 15-minute PB and ran a sub 3, did a 2:59 at Manchester. So I'm going to channel a bit of that energy into this marathon block, and York will be my sighter for Valencia.
Good luck, everybody! Good luck, everybody! Enjoy the race!
And there we go, we're away on the Yorkshire Marathon. So the first sort of 500-600 metres is quite a steep descent, so it's important not to get carried away and roped into a quick start here. We then move into our first glimpse of the city walls of York. We soon continue to weave our way around the tight streets of the city. It really isn't a bad backdrop to be running in at all, with all the scenery around, plenty of support in the first section within the first 2 miles within the city of York. The course then continues to wind its way around the typical tight streets within the city, so quite a few turns within here. Not much to shake the GPS off, of course, as you do in some city marathons, but again, some lovely scenery and architecture in this wonderful historic city. We continue the approach towards the magnificent York Minster, so I'll just leave this quiet for a second while we hear the bells ring out as we pass through past York Minster. We then soon exit the city of York, and to be honest, for the rest of the course, coupled with the inclement weather, I didn't get the GoPro out on any more clips, so the next clip will actually be the finishing straight at the University of York. So a lot has happened between the 2 clips, 24 miles to be exact, and my legs and the whole of the body was starting to feel it by now, so really just a case of nursing it to the end and really relieved to make that finishing line.
So that is the Yorkshire Marathon done in a time of 3:05, and I'll just have to check on the seconds. I think it's about 13 seconds. So I think that puts me at a slightly quicker time than I did in London. So it's a season's best for me so far. And I'm overall pretty pleased with how that went, to be honest. I know early in the week that I said that I wanted to finish strong, and that was a main aim of this marathon. That wasn't exactly how I executed the race. So I did go through halfway in 1:31, and then my second half split was must have been about 1:34 then. So I did drop off slightly, and I did struggle from about sort of 18, 19 miles onwards. Found it tough going to keep on that sort of high 6-minute mile, 7-minute pace, which would have got me closer to that 3-hour mark that I was looking to have as a stretch goal really for this race. So before the race, I did say that I'd be really happy with a similar time to London, and I've got that. So it's ticked the box in that sense, and I've got a good training run in of the 26 miles, although it's probably took a little bit more out of me than I expected really. So I've been sort of struggling to walk after the run, whereas I have finished marathons in the past and been sort of okay and been able to get back to running fairly soon. So I think the plan now will be to take a little bit of time to just fully recover. So I'll probably have a few days off running and just get back into a bit of light running next week. Not ideally what I wanted, but I have got to be fit and fresh so that I can resume the marathon training. With 6 weeks to go until Valencia now. So halfway through the block, had a really good positive run today. I did stick it out. I could have easily sort of thrown in the towel at 18, 20 miles when it was getting tough, and I did tell myself that I'm going to stick it out until I get to the hill. I said I can walk up the hill, but I'm going to stick it out until I get to the hill, and as it turned out, the hill was pretty much on the finish straight. So because I told myself that earlier, I did have a little bit of a stop up the hill, but soon when I realised there was about sort of 300 metres to go, did pull that out and managed to finish strong on that last mile at least. So great run, a decent training week, slightly lower mileage, which probably helped me going into the marathon. My legs were a little bit fresher than if I'd have done a full training week. And I'll look to get back on it in week 7 of Valencia Marathon training. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.